Let's talk about a name that's suddenly buzzing around Cowboys Nation. Jaden Blue. And yeah, I know what you're probably thinking. Wasn't that the running back from Texas? You'd be right. Blue made a name for himself in college as a running back, but now he's on the Cowboys' radar for a completely different reason, and it's not what you'd expect. So let's back up a second. Jaden Blue was a four-star recruit coming out of Houston. In high school, he was considered one of the top backs in the country. He had that explosive, one-cut-and-go kind of style that made you believe he could do real damage in the open field. When he got to Texas, though, things got a little crowded. With guys like Bijan Robinson and Jonathan Brooks ahead of him, Blue didn't get a ton of carries, but when he did get the ball, the talent was obvious. Speed, shiftiness, vision, those flashes were there. Now fast forward to today. The Cowboys signed Jaden Blue as an undrafted free agent after the 2025 NFL Draft. Not a huge headline, right? But here's the twist. He's listed as a wide receiver on the official roster, not a running back, and that caught everyone's attention. Is this a typo? Is it a mistake? Turns out, nope, it's exactly what the Cowboys intended. They're giving him a shot at wide receiver. And honestly, it makes a lot of sense. Blue ran track in high school, and he's got serious straight-line speed. He's dangerous in space and showed good hands when used in the passing game at Texas. He may not be a polished route runner, but his skill set screams gadget weapon. Someone who can line up in the slot, take jet sweeps, and give defenders headaches. Now let me ask you, be real with me. Had you even heard of Jaden Blue before today? Drop it in the comments. And if you love finding out about under-the-radar Cowboys players like this, smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe too. We're pushing to hit 14,000 subscribers, and I know we can get there with your help. This is just the beginning of a really interesting story. Let's talk about why Jaden Blue might actually have a shot on this team. And that starts with the Cowboys' WR depth chart. When you take a closer look at the Cowboys' current wide receiver depth chart, it's easy to see why a player like Jaden Blue is getting a chance, because after the top names, things get pretty thin. We all know CeeDee Lamb is the unquestioned WR1, and Brandon Cooks brings that veteran presence and speed on the outside. But after that, it's a bit of a toss-up. Jalen Tolbert is expected to take on the WR3 role, and while he's shown flashes, let's be honest, he's still unproven. There's hope that he takes the next step in 2025, but relying on hope alone isn't the best strategy in a league that punishes inconsistency. Then you've got names like Kavontae Turpin, who's mostly a special teams weapon, and guys like Jalen Brooks, Ryan Flournoy, and a few others who are fighting to stick. It's a room filled with maybe players behind the top 2 or 3. That's where someone like Jaden Blue becomes intriguing. He's not being brought in to compete for WR1 or WR2, that's not the expectation. But in a receiver group looking for playmakers and versatility, the door is open. What if he becomes that unexpected spark in training camp? Someone who stands out with his speed, movement, and ability to do the unexpected. And with Mike McCarthy looking to add more creativity to the offense in 2025, having someone who can line up in different spots, run a route from the slot, take a quick pitch, or even motion into the backfield, adds a layer of flexibility that's hard to defend. Blue might not be a traditional wide receiver, but maybe that's exactly what makes him valuable in this system. So here's what I want to know. Do you feel confident in the Cowboys' wide receiver depth this year? Give me a simple yes or no in the comments, and tell me which name you're watching besides the obvious ones. And don't forget, every like and every new subscriber helps more Cowboys fans find these conversations. So hit that button, and let's keep growing this channel together. Next, let's break down how Jaden Blue's skill set actually fits into Mike McCarthy's offensive vision. If you're wondering how Jaden Blue actually fits into Mike McCarthy's offense, let's break it down, because this isn't some random experiment. There's a method here, and it ties directly into how McCarthy wants to evolve the Cowboys' attack heading into 2025. We've seen it time and again. McCarthy's system thrives on creating mismatches and getting the ball out quickly. Think motion, quick reads, and players who can operate in space. That's where Blue could come in. He might not be a polished route runner like CeeDee Lamb or a deep ball threat like Brandon Cooks, but he brings something different. He brings unpredictability. His experience as a running back gives him natural instincts with the ball in his hands. He understands how to navigate traffic, read blocks, and turn small gains into big plays. In this scheme, Blue could be used on jet sweeps, wide receiver screens, bubble routes, and even as a motion man to confuse defenses pre-snap. McCarthy loves that kind of flexibility. It's how guys like Deebo Samuel and Curtis Samuel have been used successfully in other systems. What makes this especially interesting is that the Cowboys are trying to get more explosive without spending big or using early draft capital. They didn't draft a May receiver early this year, and they haven't made a major move in free agency either. That means they're looking for upside in unexpected places. Blue, as a UDFA convert from running back to wide receiver, checks that box. And don't overlook the fact that he could contribute on special teams. For fringe roster guys, that's often the key to sticking around. If Blue shows he can return kicks or punts, or even just be solid in coverage, it only increases his value. Now let's hear from you. Do you think Mike McCarthy will actually use Jaden Blue in the regular season? Or is this more of a camp body situation? Drop your take in the comments. And if you're enjoying this breakdown so far, make sure you've subscribed. We're on the road to 14,000 subscribers, and every bit of support helps. Coming up next, let's talk about how realistic Blue's chances are of making the 53-man roster, and what he'll have to do to pull it off. Now let's get real about Jaden Blue's shot at making the 53-man roster. Because talent alone isn't enough, especially when you're an undrafted rookie switching positions. The odds aren't exactly in his favor, but that doesn't mean the door is shut. In fact, there are a few reasons why he might actually have a legitimate shot. First off, let's talk about opportunity. The bottom half of the Cowboys' wide receiver room is wide open. After Lamb, Cooks, and Tolbert, it's anyone's game. Turpin is mostly a returner, and guys like Jalen Brooks, Tyron Billy Johnson, and Ryan Flournoy are all fighting for that 4th or 5th spot. No one is locked in. So if Blue shows something different in camp or preseason, if he flashes that speed and versatility, he can absolutely get in that conversation. Second, the Cowboys have shown they're not afraid to give undrafted guys a chance. Think back to how they handled players like Peyton Hendershot and TJ Bass. If you show something in Oxnard, they'll notice. But Blue has to make an impact quickly. He needs to stand out not just in drills, but in live reps. That means crisp execution, strong hands, and making defenders miss in space. One thing that could work in his favor is injuries. Training camp and preseason games always come with the risk of injury to other players, and that often opens unexpected roster spots. If someone ahead of him gets nicked up and Blue keeps stacking positive days, the staff might decide he's worth keeping. But let's not sugarcoat it. It's going to be an uphill climb. Blue's going to have to, prove he can block, run routes, handle special teams, and pick up the offense quickly. One slip, and another receiver jumps ahead of him. So what do you think? Will Jaden Blue make the 53-man roster? Yes or no? Go vote in the comments, and tell me why you see it that way. And if you haven't already, hit that like button. It helps more Cowboys fans see this type of breakdown. Stick around, because up next we're wrapping this up with the big picture. What Jaden Blue's story means for the Cowboys, and for fans like you. So what does all of this really mean? Not just for Jaden Blue, but for the Dallas Cowboys and fans like you and me? Honestly, it says a lot about where this team is right now. In years past, a player like Blue might have been just another camp body, but in 2025, he represents something more. Possibility, creativity, and maybe even a quiet shift in how the Cowboys evaluate talent. They're clearly looking beyond traditional molds. A running back who's now lining up as a receiver? That's the kind of outside-the-box thinking you want from a coaching staff, trying to get the most out of a roster without overspending. It's not about big names anymore. It's about finding football players, guys who love the game, can wear multiple hats, and give you flexibility when injuries and matchups demand it. And for you as a fan, Jaden Blue's journey is something to watch. He's the underdog. He's the guy grinding in the background, trying to earn a shot most people never thought he'd get. And whether or not he makes the roster, he's already added something valuable: competition. That push for guys like Jalen Brooks or Ryan Flournoy to raise their game, that little extra edge in practice that might make the entire receiver group better. This is what training camp is all about. It's not just about the stars. It's about the stories unfolding under the radar. And if Blue continues to turn heads during OTAs and make some noise in Oxnard, don't be surprised if we're still talking about him when Week 1 rolls around. So tell me, what's your gut feeling now that you've heard the full picture? Is Jaden Blue someone you're rooting for, or do you think this is just a short-term camp buzz? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's talk about it. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next roster update or player spotlight. We're pushing toward 14,000 subscribers, and your support keeps this Cowboys community growing strong. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Until next time, go Cowboys!